I cannot tell you how long I had to avoid Twitter to not get spoiled. It was miserable. But I finally got a chance to sit down and fully bask in my edgy tween phase anime dream. That being Fruits Basket 2019. I was doubtful going into this remake because I'll be honest, Fruits Basket 2001 did not age well for me. I mean, come on, this was the age of ginormous anime eyeballs. I hold Fruits Basket on a high pedestal, being a pillar of my childhood, so revisiting it had me scared. But after I sat down and went through this experience, I can say that Fruits Basket 2019 is going to be a certified bop. If you've seen the original, then you have to do yourself this service and watch the remake. In today's video, I'm going to go over and compare how the studio remade this classic into the modern age. I'm going to look at every nook and cranny of the remake without revealing the whole episode, hopefully. If you enjoyed this video, then please do me the favor of subscribing to this channel to stay in the loop. With that, let's take this trip together and see what this anime has in store for us today. I'm BriThi, your local DJ, and today we're comparing Fruits Basket 2019 versus Fruits Basket 2001.
宴を開こう。もう一度、何度でも、いつまでも変わることなく。
So right off the bat, we can see that the two opening scenes are very different from each other. In the original, we have the opening being played. It showcases all the characters, with the best being Kyo. Don't at me. The remake goes the way of giving us the scene of the 12 Zodiac, which plays into the curse that we don't know of yet. Oh my god, I'm dying right now, guys. You see why I was so cautious on going to revisit the original? I mean, look at Toru. She gives you the 2001 feel, and it's pretty fantastic. The remake has done a great job of bringing her to a modern look. In this analysis, you'll probably hear me saying artistic upgrades a lot. Side note, little details like the tent being upgraded is a nice addition. They gave Toru a livable tent versus the one that would only last a few days. The fact that just showing and communicating with pictures of deceased family pulls at my heartstrings makes me feel so vulnerable. It worked on me, okay? The scene is basically the same as the old one, but the one change that I really enjoyed was the hat propped up on the picture frame. It is worn out and looks pretty old, giving us the sense that this hat is either her mother's or one that has a close connection to her past. Hint hint. Wrapping up this scene, you can tell that the studio has a much bigger budget than the original because of all the little details they are able to add. Like the tent's shadowing being zipped up, that was so cool. Also, the fact that the still image of Toru leaving her place is replaced with a shot of her running away from it. You know, just the small details.
はじめまして、本田徹です。その年の5月に、女手一つで私を育ててくれたお母さんを交通事故で亡くし。
On her walk, we see a change from the original. The original gave us a little monologue of the backstory of Toru and who she is. In the remake, however, we don't get that due to the fact the animation team expects us to already be a past viewer and know this information. Just a little side tangent, I love that Toru just casually walks into someone's backyard. I would be freaking out if I saw some girl wandering into my backyard. The ornaments are portrayed the same way, except the original includes a little more detail added around instead of just a tied up box in the original.
Oh yeah?
The scene introducing Shigure is a little different in the remake. Instead of doing a chibi, embarrassed, walking back, Toru bows apologetically. This trend of seeing the remake be less chibi style is going to carry on a lot through this episode. I think this is going to show how anime fans have grown and moved towards different types of moe than what we used to have in the early 2000s.
何泣いてんのトールは。
猫さんかわいそう。決めました。私、犬さんをやめて猫さんになる。
I know I said I wasn't going to compare everything, but the scene of her mother telling baby Toru the story is too cute to not add in. The scene is a lot more detailed, giving us a bit of insight on what the house Toru lived in before was like. I enjoyed this subtle change. It is different from the original where all we have is Toru and her mother conversing. Pulls at my heartstrings a bit seeing a scene like this. I have a weak spot for mothers, what can I say?
何鼻の下伸ばしてるのさ。大丈夫？本田さん。俺のいとこが変なことしなかった？やたら痛いよ、そのカバン。辞書か何か入ってない？ 2冊ほど。おはよ
Yuki's introduction is so much cleaner in the remake. I enjoyed the subtle pan over versus the over-the-top backgrounds. I have to say, modernizing Yuki has done this man so much good. Oh my gosh. I can't help but look at the original take on him and chuckle just a little bit. Don't get me wrong guys, I love him to death, but it's kind of funny at times. Aw, they skipped the Yuki love song in the remake. Such a shame, that part was over the top funny. Wow, the Yuki fan club got a buff in the remake too. They were given names instead of being nobodies in the first episode. I like the change of making her in a cutout wall space in the remake to show how they cornered her. It gave the delinquent duo an even bigger rescue. With the Yuki fan club getting a buff, I have to say that Hana and Ao also are looking pretty freaking great. I'm going to skip over the cooking scene, but I just wanted to say, why do we Americans not get cooking classes? I barely know how to cook anything except eggs and pack ramen. This could have been so much help.
顔色があんまり良くないね。まだ暑いし、体には気をつけた方がいいよ。
The walk home from school is dramatically upgraded in the remake. The still images used are replaced by a beautiful sunlight color palette combined with gorgeous falling leaves. Instead of the still color backgrounds, we are given a city view. This scene is such a huge improvement as well. That budget is really flexing versus the original. What both scenes do not leave out is how hard my guy Yuki is finessing his smooth talking skills onto Toru. Like damn son, chill out. We have other men in this show.
トールちゃん、ママ今日はすき焼き食べたいな。すき焼き。
私を守ってくれたお母さん。いつだってパワフルで明るくて。
Okay, there is one scene that I want to compare in detail about, and that is the character building of Toru. In the original, this cutscene was shown during her cooking class. It shows the reason Toru was living in a tent, and it gives insight that her family isn't heartless people that would make this cute girl live in the wilderness. This was a great addition, but I think the remake blows the original out of the water. It begins by telling us what her mother was like in greater detail than the original. This helps us get a picture of how Toru got her great cooking skills. It also highlights how Toru views her mother as someone that is powerful and cheerful no matter what. Once again, this show knows how to pull at my heartstrings. The innocent way she is drawn in these scenes show how she was unprepared for the hardship she was going to have to face. This really grounds Toru as a very compassionate character and where she gets it from. This scene was so powerful and I completely love it. I'm glad this was one of the scenes that the studio decided to build up on. But carrying on, a small detail change in the remake is that Shigure and Yuki see Toru on her path back home versus in the original seeing her crawl into her tent right away. This is actually pretty smart because if her tent was on the path that they take from getting food daily, then they should spot her tent easily, you know? By making it to where they see her walking to her tent, we are certain that they must have followed her to a hidden location. Just some plot detail that they are fixing up that I noticed. Another small detail I'm glad they added was when going back into her tent, we see that she has a little light that illuminates her tent. In the original, this was never shown, so we can only assume she uses moonlight to light up the things around her. The discovery of Toru's secret outing is the same throughout the two. This scene is actually one of my favorites in this episode because of Shigure's teasing. This man just found out this cute girl is living in the woods, alone, and without batting an eye, he laughs at her all the way home. The best part is that in the original, they make it a point to show that he is still laughing at her, even after they bring her to their home. You can even still hear him laughing as Yuki and Toru speak. I missed that arrow in the foreground laughing in the remake, but alas, the show must go on. When the landslide catches Toru's tent, she immediately flings herself onto the pile desperately trying to dig her mother's picture out. What a powerful moment that shows when it comes to her mother, she is still vulnerable. You might be wondering what she means when she said her mother might suffer under there. Well, in Japanese belief, living people can be inside of objects. Just a little knowledge bomb for you guys. The scene of a barely awake Toru speaking under the futon is done beautifully in the remake. They gave the futon a nice design as she rested under it. The way Toru describes the last time she interacted with her mother in vivid detail shows how much this has impacted her. In the original, they used a lot of still frames, but in the remake, they didn't cut any punches to make this even more impactful. The slow gray frame door closing to her mother encouraging her to finish school was so crisp and clean. Even though the original used a lot of still frames, one thing I loved in the original was the image of her mother walking out the door. Just the way she is presented throughout all these cutscenes make you really feel like she is this wonderful, loving mother. I don't want to go on too long, but the scene of Yuki with the horde of mice behind him is terrifying. Oh my god, look how many there are! It makes up from the original is when Toru wakes up, her mother's picture is already picked from the dirt and presented in front of her, versus in the remake where Yuki is bringing it back to her after she scrambles to get it after waking up. Just a little side note I wanted to bring up, Toru's mother pose in the picture is badass. I can't wait for the anime to explore her backstory a little more.
ではご厄介になるならば相馬家のルールとかしきたりとか教えてください。
いいよ。本田さんは本田さんらしくゆっくりやっていけばいいよ。この家で。
Alright, home stretch, baby. Throughout this episode, they made Yuki seem so suave. It's a vibe I didn't really get in the original because I was like a tween, but with the updated art and flashy backgrounds, I can see it now. A new detail in the remake that I'd like to add is that throughout this whole scene, we get a lot more detail on the Soma household. In the original, they had this entire conversation in the patio of the backyard. I appreciate them fleshing out the house a bit more. The window and the stairwell to give us a glimpse of Kyo was so well done to make everything make sense in this frame. Just a funny little error I found in the original while comparing this part. In the original, Shirogane and Yuki are walking outside before ending up upstairs in the new room, while in the remake they use the new scenes of the house to get them to that upstairs room. I'm glad they included the goofy energy Kyo's introduction is. Either that is a flimsy roof on a very nice house, or this man has the strength of 10 men in his thin body. Anyway, the man of honor is finally here. This scene was so nostalgic to see. From Kyo's angry personality to the clumsy fall on Toru's part. I loved it all.
Yuki-kun, もしかして今日が来た?
The poof animation got a major visual change, and I honestly really like it.
あららら。
猫に
このバカ。
なってしまいました。もしかして私がぶつかったせいで心が悪くて。とにかく病院へ。
本田さん。あ。
Finally, the big reveal. It's just as funny as I remembered it to be. Seeing their expressions on their animal faces bring a big smile onto mine. Both scenes look beautiful and I'm just so glad to finally see it again. The music in both scenes I think fitted very nicely as well. The look of wonder in Toru's eyes to just a blank expression in the remake is so nice to see. I'm just so happy to see it again. What a wonderful remake this has been so far. Alright, time to wrap this up. So, I have to say this remake has been handled masterfully. It improves on some details in the original while still offering a tried and true remake. The voice actors might be a bit different, but they still nail their characters. The minor detail upgrades make something like this so enjoyable to do because it shows how much care they put into this project. It feels more hard to know that this show is getting this level of care in what is a classic at this point. So if you're on the fence about sticking with it, I urge you to continue on. By the time of this posting, episode 2 should be airing today as well. I hope you enjoyed my analysis on the first episode and its comparison to the original. I had a lot of fun doing this. Please consider subscribing to me for more content like this. Even if you don't, have a fantastic day. For those who care, I know I've missed almost 2 months of uploads. I'm very sorry. I'm going through one of the toughest times in my life at the moment. I have no drive or energy to even get out of bed every morning. I'll try to get back onto a consistent schedule. Thank you for being patient with me. Here's a new segment I wanted to include at the end of my episodes, and that is a subscriber/fan shoutout. Shout out to Panini on Twitter for being a great fan. I really appreciate you, man, or woman. But with that, until next time, I'm BriThi, your local DJ, signing off. Sayonara.